Yeah, good afternoon, grade 10s. Sorry about the husky voice here, but we're going to kind of work through a couple of examples and try and show you what it is that we want to be able to apply finding area to. When we talk about sketching the net of a solid, we're talking about taking a shape and unfolding it. Kind of like a Kleenex box or a cereal box. If you kind of cut the top off and unfold it, we have some parts we want to talk about. The main part though is you got a bottom down here, and that bottom is a rectangle, and it's 10 by 12 on the bottom, and there's going to be a 10 by 12 on the top as well, and we'll get to that. But we also want to talk about the sides and what side they are and how they relate to the bottom. If we talk about this panel, that's kind of the edge here of our rectangle. We want to be able to kind of show that we can unfold that and recognize that this is a rectangle that is 12 by 8. So 12 by 8, if we fold it down from the 12 side, I have a rectangle that is 12 by 8. So I've taken care of, in a sense, almost that right side or front side of the box. And the same thing, I have the rectangle that's on the back side, and it's the exact same side as well. So it is also 12 by 8. So again, if we talk about the 12 and we talk about the 8, I have half of my shape kind of unfolded now. I got the bottom, I'm going to call it the front side, and the back side. If I go to the another side here, I'm going to call this the left side. The left side, it's on the 10, and it's 10 by 8. So I'm going to draw this rectangle over here this way, and I want it to be 10 by 8 as well. And again, where the 10 is, it's on the outside edge, so it's not really floating in the middle like it looks like it's here. It's actually 10 by 8, and I want that to be 10 by 8 on the other side as well. And if I was doing this like a real solid diagram or a real good diagram, that blue line and that green line should be the same length because they're both supposed to be 8s as well. So now if you look at what we've done, I've taken the bottom 10 by 12, I've taken what I'm calling my left 10 by 8, I've taken my right 10 by 8, and I've folded those out. The only thing I'm missing is my top. So I need to have one more shape that is 10 by 8. And I can either put it on the top of the green rectangle or the bottom of the green rectangle. And I'm going to do something here. I'm just going to move all my shapes down a little bit just to give me room to draw one more rectangle up here. And this is 12. And I want to draw this to be 12 by 10. Because the top is 12 by 10, just the same way as the bottom is 12 by 10. So that's called drawing the net of the solid. The next thing we're supposed to do is to take this and find the area of all of these rectangles. So I want to find 2 red areas, 2 green areas, and 2 blue areas. If you remember the pattern for finding the area of a rectangle, we want to talk about the area being length times width, or we're going to talk about the area being base times height. I'm talking pretty quick here, so we're going to have a chance later on to push pause or replay this for you to be able to kind of just follow along. But my length times width are my areas, and my bottom was 12 by 10. And if I use a calculator to find 12 by 10, that is going to be 120. My top is 12 by 10, so that is also 120. If I look at my blue sides are 10 by 8, so that's 80 for one blue side. And I have 10 by 8 for the other blue side. And then my other sides, my green sides, are 12 by 8. So 12 by 8 and 12 by 8. So I have 6 rectangles to find the area for. And each of those is a rectangle, length times width. So I have the top and bottom 12 by 10. I have the front and back 12 by 8. I have the left and right 10 by 8. If I'm supposed to find the whole area of this shape, what I'm supposed to do is take and add all of these numbers together. I add those together, and that's going to equal my surface area. And that's the area that you get when you take the solid and you lay it flat. So again, grabbing some calculators, 120 plus 120 plus 80 plus 80 plus 96 plus 96. Just punch this in and see what we get for an area. Maybe you can be doing this at the same time, but we can check and see who has the right answer. So 120, 120, 80 and 80, and 96 and 96. I have an area now of 592. And again, I don't know if these are centimeters or not, but I have that many squares that are going to exist when I lay that box flat. So this is not about volume. This is not knowing about how many cubes fit inside the shape like you did yesterday. This is about taking the shape and laying it flat and finding the area. So that's our first example. Finding or being able to draw the net given the solid. Like I said, you can push pause, you can rewind this just to kind of have the idea that this shape goes into 6 rectangles. The other skill you want to have today is to be able to take, if you're given the 6 rectangles, how do you put them back together to give you the cube? So that's going to be one of the assignments you have to work on. Second example, if you flip your page over now, this is what we're talking about. If you have a shape and it's laid flat, how do you put it back together to turn it into a 3-dimensional solid? What you can see here is you have triangles on the top and bottom. So if I'm going to start putting this shape together, I have a triangle on the top and bottom, and I'm not a great artist here, but I want to be able to kind of fold those so it turns into like a 3-dimensional shape. So my bottom is here, and both of these sides are 10 and 10, and this bottom length here is the same as the top length. This is 18. So this is a 10 and a 10 and an 18. And yesterday I kind of talked about it's difficult to take our information and put it on a flat piece of paper, and that's exactly what we're kind of struggling with here. But I want to take right now, I want to take these two sides and I want to fold them together so they go along the sides of the pyramid. I guess, well, it's not pyramid, it's of a prism, sorry. So you take the blue side and you fold it back to the point of the triangle on the left, take the blue side and fold it back to the point of the triangle on the right. And really what happens is in our 3-dimensional solid is it ends up being a triangle prism, it's called. So you have triangle top and bottom. So you have a triangle base, and you end up having 3 rectangles. You've got a left rectangle, it's kind of on the back side of our shape. So we've got a back side rectangular shape, and then we have a right side rectangle in our shape as well. And then the very bottom, the very flat part that we started with is this, how's my color going here? Is this shape in the bottom. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't know how I can get rid of all these lines now without making a real mess of things. I made a mess of things now for sure. But this is going to be our sides here. If we put these just back together. The whole back side of our prism is what we're looking at. I think probably an easier way for us to see this is like I said, drawing things on a bit of an angle. So if I have the bottom is a rectangle, so this bottom rectangle is my 18 by 30 rectangle, 18 by 30 rectangle, And then if I want to try and figure out how to make this into a pyramid, if I can draw a triangle off of each end, and then what I have then is I actually have my two sides now of my triangle prism on the angle. So I am no artist, so I'm hoping that you are able to draw things better than I can here. But the idea is it's 30 by 30 by 18, and then each of these red lines are still 10 by 10. And if we wanted to, we could find the length and the width of all of our rectangles, but we don't know the height of our triangle, so we're actually going to stop our question here. So your assignment now is to get a sheet from Mrs. Gish, and on that sheet for Mrs. Gish, you have 9 questions to do, where you're going to draw either the net and then find some areas, or you'll be given the nets and you're going to draw some solids. And again, the idea is to find some areas with as many shapes as you can. Anything that has a triangle in it, we're not going to be able to find the area unless you're truly given the height. So if you don't have the height of the triangle given to you, you can't find the surface area. But anything that doesn't have a height, you should be able to find the area of all the rectangles. And there's a couple of triangles in here that you do have the height to that you can solve for as well. So when you're looking at doing this assignment today, you're going to have probably close to 30, maybe 45 minutes to do these 9 or 10 questions. I'm going to ask Mrs. Gish to collect these at the end of the day and hand them back to me. All right, so good luck with your assignment, and we will see all of you tomorrow.